Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening or watching us. I'm your host, Holly, and I'm joined by Stef and Chris. Hello, gentlemen.
Morning. Good morning.
It is the morning after the victory before, the night before, or something like that. Steph, you were at the game, Fulham. We'll have a good chat about the Fulham game. Chris, you watched it on the TV. I saw the first half and had to duck out for the second half. I have seen a couple of the key incidents of the second half since, and we will look ahead to Atletico Madrid, who rock up at the Emirates on Tuesday evening in the Champions League. I'm assuming that's an 8 o'clock kickoff, but it might be 5:36. I have no idea. Is it 8 o'clock?
8.
8, okay. So as ever, Steph, as you were at the game, how was it?
Good. It's so early this Sunday morning as we record that I feel like I'm slightly still at the game, if I'm perfectly honest. There's that ringing in my ears from the away section and the chanting that was going on. It was very good. It was a lovely civilised day. I'm still pretty sure that Fulham is my favourite away trip just because of the setting and the environment and how pleasant and nice the whole thing is. I'm not sure that's
Did you get the boat? Did you get the boat?
We didn't get the boats. I have done the Red Action boat trip in the past, and it is great fun. We did encounter, so we went to a pub called Temperance, which is the other side of Putney Bridge, and saw a few familiar faces in there. And one guy came in. He's a member of the West Sussex Supporters Club, saying that a rival football fan had egged the boat from one of the bridges that they passed under. So they literally had like egg stains
they were ready.
on their shoes.
They were
ready and armed with their eggs, because obviously it's out on social media that this, Arsenal boat trip was going on. So they
obviously scrambled.
Excellent. Excellent joke.
I'd say being Fulham as well, it must have been organic, free range, top quality eggs.
Well, I don't know what. Obviously, they go from pretty much like East London, so it could have been, those East End eggs that have been, tortured in a warehouse somewhere. Oh, it's early. It's early, guys.
It is. You're going from the frying pan into the fire.
And if we have any listeners left, they can follow us on YouTube. Give us a subscribe at North Bank Pod.
Chris is going to time it. Chris is going to time it perfectly, so that's just popped up on screen for those of you watching.
For more
YouTube,
of this,
follow us.
For more of this cracking content.
No.
Okay.
Shall we continue?
Awful.
I mean,
awful.
That's it. I'm not doing any more.
Right, enough.
Okay, so the football, Steph, how was it?
That part of the day perhaps wasn't as enjoyable. We knew it was going to be a tricky game. Fulham are a good side, and we hadn't won there for a couple of years. Draw last season, and then defeat the season before. So yeah, we paid them a lot of respect, and they played pretty well. But it was a funny game. It was almost I can't speak this morning. It was almost a dictionary definition of a post-international hangover. That sort of just lack of fluency in rhythm yet to sort of pick up. So it was a tough place to go to Fulham. So to come away 3 points, clean sheet, job done. Can't be unhappy with that.
No. Chris, you watched it on the box?
I did. Yeah, I did.
The egg box. Okay, no, on the box.
No, I did. And the last pod, you asked me whether you thought we'd suffer from complacency, and we all agreed. I think it was the fluency that we were more worried about, and that's exactly what I felt happened. Certainly for the first half, we found a bit more rhythm in the second. And I think that's just a natural function of being away. Gabby XL, very uncharacteristic giveaways in the first half. It's just, those little brain fart moments that you just don't see ordinarily. So, what I'm like, I sort of brain dump while I'm watching the game, but, on reflection, I can sort of rationalise a bit more. So,
yes, I think you had us relegated at one point.
Yeah. I was going to line them all up.
Such was your calm response to giving the ball away 3 times.
It was a brilliant study in human psychology, because I'm at the game where the signal wasn't brilliant and I'm watching the game and, joining in with the songs. And I know, obviously, you stepped out, Holly, and didn't see the second half. And I was looking, there's like 60, 70 messages
from
of
Chris.
Just Chris having some kind of existential crisis.
Existential.
Oh, God. Yeah. So it was a frustrating game, because it was those nearly moments, whether it was a pass not finding its target here or a heavy first touch there, kind of a couple of missed chances.
Yeah, there's that, but there's also the opposition as well. If you look at the block of games we've got between these 2 international breaks, this is definitely, and it's no disrespect to the 3 teams coming up, but this was definitely our most difficult fixture, I think, away to Fulham. We've got home to Palace and we've got away to Burnley, away to Sunderland, and that's not to underestimate those games either. They won't be. All 3 of those games are potential banana skins. But Fulham away, I mean, Chris, you quite infamously suggested that Fulham away was a more difficult game than Manchester United at home in the current climes.
Yeah.
So I think we have to acknowledge that whether Fulham set out to put 11 men behind the ball, that's kind of what happens for large swathes of the game, much like Pep said when City came to the Emirates, that it may not have been his initial intention, but that's what transpired because of the stranglehold we managed to exert onto the opposition, but also the game state itself. I didn't see the game, second half rather, in its entirety, but there's some cracking stats. Second consecutive game, we've not allowed the opposition a shot on goal.
Yeah.
Do you know the last time we did that?
In the Invincible season.
Was it?
It was the Invincible season. No, it wasn't. It was the last time we won the league. Is that the Invincible season?
No.
It's the same season. It was.
It was. Yeah.
It was November 03, 04 season. So November 03. The second game of that was also Fulham.
Oh wow!
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of other stats as well. Since Big Gabby arrived in the Premier League, he has more goal contributions from corners, 17, than Leicester, 16.
Wow.
That stat came from James Benge on one of the socials. I'm not sure. Opta Joe gave me the stat for a second consecutive game without allowing a shot on target. And I think we went ahead in the 58th minute. Fulham had 1 shot for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
At their ground, trying to get back into it. I mean, that is pretty... I know 1-0 never, ever feels secure, especially with 9 minutes of added time and so on. But we will get into the key points in the game, but let's start with the first key point, which would have been the team selection, perhaps. Well, I don't know, did we all predict it? I certainly got it.
No, I said Arteta would play Merino, which transpired when they made the substitutions.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have started with Trossard. Chris, we can... read out some of your tweets about Trossard.
Please don't.
Right up until the 58th minute, and then it went quiet a little bit.
I just said I'd always liked him.
Yeah.
From that point,
never said a bad word
fickle
about him.
fan. Yeah.
So Trossard on the left, Eze in the middle, back 5 as you would, Zubamendi and Rice, Saka, Gyokeres. Steph, you're in the ground. I'm assuming that team selection was no surprise really to anybody at the game. How do you think we started out? Because I did see the first 30 minutes, and as Chris has already alluded to, the first 20 minutes were a little bit sloppy. How was this? What was the feeling on the stands?
It was exactly the same, and so no surprise with the team. And we're at that point with injuries where we've got enough depth to absorb the injuries that we've had, but we are probably on a bit of a cusp that were we to befall any more, things would start to look a bit iffy. You'd be putting your hopes in the hands of teenagers like Waneri coming in, possibly in that more creative role, although I know Arteta would probably turn to Merino. But anyway, the first few minutes of the game seemed okay. We're in control, but then it was almost like Fulham, like a boxer sort of gauging the power of their opponent's punch, were able to go, okay, right, now let's have a go. And what was pleasing was, we forced them into more of a defensive shape because we kind of impose ourselves on him. But in that first period, there was a spell from about, 15, 20 minutes on where they were a bit more aggressive. They were trying to get on the front foot a bit more. Jimenez was aggressive and doing that very typical like number 9 thing of trying to occupy the centre backs, be aggressive on the full backs to try and get their territory up further up the pitch, which we have been praising Gyokeres for doing for us a little bit. And Josh King was getting a few more touches in midfield. Iwobi was trying to knit things together as well. And so they sort of went for it a little bit, trying to take us by surprise.
Encouraged a little bit by us as well.
I was just going to say that.
I was just going to say that actually it was encouraged a lot by the fact that some of our play under pressure wasn't brilliant. There was a few passes there was a couple that were under hit that then
Rice
left the player
Gabriel
scrambling. Yeah, exactly. Those ones really stood out. And so therefore, it's going to get your tail up and lock you into a way of playing that means you're going to be a bit more intense. And it was a bit of a sort of struggle after that.
I mean, there's no harm in encouraging teams onto us because it does leave gaps at the back. And Chris, we were very close to a Calafiori genius moment, weren't we?
What a strike. Oh my goodness. Was it Trossard that was offside?
No, he was. Calafiori was offside. It was annoying because he shouldn't have been, because he was looking directly at Trossard and the ball arriving with Trossard, and he knew where the defender was, so he could see it all in front of him. And all he had to do was just one little step. It was so marginal. One little step, half step even, and he'd have been onside. But what a connection.
Yeah. Unfortunate, wasn't it? But like you said, just to pick up on what you said about inviting them on, those passes, it's so instructive of like what's going on with a team, and that when they're pulling their passes slightly, like the yips, where it's not quite flowing, and you put so much message on a pass, when it's hit with pace and purpose, it's like a virtuous circle. Then everyone goes, and then it kind of cranks up the pace and the energy, and that's what I wanted to see. And that's why the first half for me was so frustrating, was it felt like we had the yips. It was a little bit of that kind of frustrated kind of almost held back. So we got on top of it slightly more in the second half.
This new Arsenal iteration, and I define that as this season compared to the previous season, even though I had watched the first half, I was feeling still genuinely quite confident that we would improve. And I used the fact that Chelsea were really poor in their first half and City were not really poor in their first half, but didn't create anything in their first half. And both came out second half and with improved performances and ultimately quite comfortable wins in the end for both. And I just felt that we are that's us as well now, that we will not have two bad halves of football. If we have the first half bad, then okay. And we hadn't lost the lead or anything. We hadn't conceded a goal. We weren't chasing the game. We weren't really ceding many chances to Fulham either after about 25, 30 minutes. So it wasn't a disaster of a game, but it was a game that we kind of make post-international, the game you'd normally associate with maybe 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday morning. It takes a while to warm into it and get going. But and we did. It was an improved second half. I mean, it wasn't great. It could have been more comfortable. We'll have a conversation about a couple of the reasons why it wasn't a more comfortable victory. But let me give you the match stats. We had 63% possession. Our XG is 1.88, Fulham's was 0.44. And more interestingly for me, with the conversation that we're going to have, our XG from open play was 1.36. Their XG from open play was 0.3. So that's higher. I mean, I need to go back and check, but as a percentage of our overall XG, that's a lot higher. And it's just interesting, this kind of snobby conversation that's going on about, in some way, set-piece goals aren't as useful or valuable as any other goal. But anyway, we had 16 shots to their 9. We had 5 on target. They had 0. We had 10 corners to their 6. And I must go back and check actually how many corners we average per game across the season. It would be absolutely ridiculous if we didn't focus on corners, being a club that gets so many corners, because we have an awful lot of pressure in the game. We dominate possession. It's like Manchester United. Oh, here I go. Manchester United of old under Ferguson. They won a disproportionate, inverted commas, amount of penalties, and they scored a disproportionate amount of late goals. Well, it's because they had huge pressure in every single game, and the game was played in the final third. So obviously, they're going to have more opportunity to win penalties and to score late goals. It's just logical, but it felt terrible at the time, and I can see that. Our opposition fans, it's just jealousy and envy. Of course it is. Knock us, and we're relevant again, and so on. But I find it must be, that's how other fans must be feeling about us now. The inevitability of us scoring late on-ish and from a set piece at some point to break the low block.
Well, crucially, it's the teams themselves that are feeling that pressure, not just the fans. You know?
Yeah, the inevitability. I mean, what did Marco Silva say after? He says, if Gabriel gets a jump, you're not getting the ball. He said, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. If
he's jumping, you can't jump with him. Doesn't
I heard
matter
it
who
mentioned again, one of these very kind of reductive arguments that we get into positions where we can knock it against the fullback to earn the corner because we know we're going to score from a corner where we have a greater chance. In other words, we can't do it from open play, so therefore we're just playing for free kicks and corners.
It's ridiculous. We've had 10 different scorers this season. Only 2 teams have scored more goals than us, and that's Chelsea by 1 and Man City by 2.
Haaland FC, yeah.
Yeah, Haaland FC, ole, ole. Yeah, so we are spreading the goals around. Again, our XG 1.36 yesterday. From open play, that is, from open play, which is really, really good. The goal itself, I mean, George Graham must be looking on with such pride. Steve Bold and Tony Adams,
eyebrows.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Because it was a classic George Graham corner kick routine. Flick on near post, Trossard need it in at the back post. Do we have another player who would have scored that goal?
Yeah.
Do we? Who? I mean, I don't recall another player, because Trossard always, if you watch it, I notice it because at the Emirates when he's playing and we have corners, because we're very close to the pitch, he always positions himself. Doesn't matter what any other player is doing, he always positions himself at that back stick. And I don't have a memory of another player always positioning themselves in that position. Now, it's obviously something they work on. Sorry?
I was just going to say, not to discredit him at all, but you'd be pretty miffed if there wasn't someone following on from that routine at the back post. You know, particularly if it was one of the training ground. Okay, we're going to go for number 4, and it's the near post flick on, and you know that someone is going to be following in at the far stick. So whether it's Martinelli or whoever, Marino. So I'm pretty sure that there would have been someone capable of filling in there.
And you've alluded to that the variety of corner kick routine that we've got is impressive as well.
Yeah.
Have we scored a flick on corner?
I haven't seen one for ages. No. That was like you said. That was pure vintage 90.
89. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steph, remind me, in relation to that goal, where were you in the ground?
So we were more in the corner, so I could see the corner taker right in front of us. So there was a bit of consternation. There were a few people around us going, I didn't even see it go in. Because obviously there's just like a flurry of activity and people are up and arms are up and you can't quite see. So, but obviously just saw essentially Trossard there at the back stick. Given the prominence that Nicolas Jova has been given with the set-piece coach, I don't think many players end up in positions by accident when it's a set play. the free movement during open play is a different conversation. So someone being there and being disciplined to be there is part of that as well. But some of the deliveries
making sure you're in front of your marker, like
and all that kind of jazz as well. Yeah, I mean some of the deliveries weren't all brilliant yesterday. A lot of the corners were coming from Saka's side because again a lot of our attack seemed to be filtered that way. And we just, like you said about the Man United stat, we get a high volume of corners and a high volume of set-piece goals because we're dominating possession, we're forcing teams back, and you're just in those situations where you're naturally going to win more of them. Why wouldn't you turn to that? But on the flip side, we did create some open play chances. Gyokeres had 2 really good chances that he could have done better with. Calafiori had a goal ruled out for offside. I think the stat about Fulham having no shots on target is still good and brilliant, and we were very good defensively again yesterday. But at the same time, there were a couple of moments. I seem to remember a shot fizzed that went over the bar that better finishing could have punished us a little bit more with. So might not tell the whole picture, but it is a trend that is ongoing of how stingy we can be, but we're making other teams more vulnerable. It's brilliant.
We are going to concede shots and we are going to concede goals. Yeah. It's like we're playing a game of football. We're not going to completely dominate. I mean, we are. I mean, Chelsea conceded 15 goals in that record-breaking defensive season. Yep. And I've heard a couple of Chelsea fans, I think Rory Jennings, being one, he started to get a little bit worried. He thinks that he couched it in terms of there are certain records in football that will never be broken. They will exist for eternity. And he referenced the Invincibles season. He said, like, going unbeaten, that's not going to happen again. And along with that, he would have said at the start of this season, Chelsea's defensive record of 15 goals conceded. But now he's starting to get a little bit worried. And I think I still don't think we'll beat it because all it takes is one game. You concede 3 goals at Man City or something like that, and that record is gone. Like it's not, not recoverable. We've conceded 3 goals from 8 games, 11 games, but 8 games in the Premier League, and 1 goal from open play. Is that right? Haaland's goal still the only goal from open play.
That's it.
David Raya's got 5 clean sheets. What was the total number of clean sheets last season for the Golden Glove?
14.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's over a third of the way there in 8 games. I mean, it's superb. 58 minutes then, we go 1-0 up. Had Fulham threatened in that first period of the second half, Steph, at the game?
Not memorably so. I don't know if there was a massively noticeable improvement initially in the second half. Again, what I do remember from the second half is Saka seeing a lot of the ball mainly because it was right in front of us as well. That shot that Fulham fizzed over was second half because it was down the other end. But yeah, I mean we started out pretty well. So
how did Eze play for you at the game?
Got better as the game went on. I think Fulham did a very good job of trying to filter the ball wide, so he wasn't getting a lot of high volume touches of the ball centrally, which meant that the likes of Saka, Trossard, and the fullbacks were seeing a lot of the ball. But then started to drift and find a few more pockets of space. What was just a shame was that there are a few runs and touches that, just wasn't quite coming off, but he's still learning, the lots of relationships with the players, some of whom are new themselves, like Gyokeres, for example. So he was okay.
I think it was really hard for him to find space, wasn't it? That was the thing. He was coming deep in some instances, like, when Odegaard comes deep sometimes, I'm thinking, geez, they're kind of doing a number on you when you see him next to your centre halves, and he was dropping deep to get involved, and I'd rather keep him further forward. But fair play Fulham for that, and he got subbed for Marino, didn't he? Which I suppose
62 minutes.
Game state dictated in a way that it was. You could argue it's a more defensive thing, but I like to think of Marino in that way, that he's great for obviously physical presence, but the way he can anticipate passes and, just keep possession, keep control.
Do you think it was a bit of an overly cautious decision? Because I know you thought that Eze must have been injured.
Yeah, I wondered whether he'd taken a knock.
Did you, in the ground, Steph, what was the reaction to that substitution 4 minutes after? No, not about Eze having an injury, but replacing him with Marino, which is a more defensive. I know Marino's goal scoring, but what is Marino? We don't know what a Marino is. I don't know what he is. Is he a world-class striker, or is he an attacking midfielder, or is he a defensive midfielder? I really don't know.
He's just a really good footballer. I think, I can only say, again, the people I was with, we were just looking at some of the players just looking a bit leggy and tired. We were quite surprised Saka played as long as he did, because he did start to look a little bit jaded, wasn't snapping into runs.
If you've got Madueke on the bench, he comes off.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I think this
Max
is why I said...
and Waneri,
Yeah, our injuries are fine, but we're on a line a little bit. We're treading a little bit carefully with that. I think... Did the Martinelli substitution happen at the same time?
No, 81 minutes.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Look, no one was, spitting their dummy out or anything like that with the changes. Like they were.
If Fulham had scored, if Fulham had got an equaliser, though, they would have done. I know if that didn't happen, but it might happen.
Do you think
next
it's
time.
indicative of the confidence they have in holding on to a 1-0 lead?
Yeah.
At that early stage, right? Eze's not quite working, so we're going to bring someone on who is more about control and, like I said, just physical control and anticipation that Marino gives you as a sacrifice. That we're quite happy to sit on this.
And it did seem like, and again, I don't want it to sound like it's, putting too much negative on Eze, but Fulham just couldn't get at us after Marino came on, because, like you say, that control. Zubamendi all of a sudden seemed to be getting more touches of the ball because he wasn't having to just intercept and follow runners. Like they were getting just foot on the ball, nice simple passes, recycling it, which is not the most exciting thing in the world to watch, but when you're 1-0 up and you're away from home at a tricky side, that's fine. Rice came into it a bit more, was pinging balls out wide to Saka.
The game open, we had more big chances after the goal than before the goal, but was that because Eze...
Fulham are coming on to us a bit more.
And would Eze have been a better placed player to take advantage of that? And may we have scored a second and third goals, early? Like we didn't score them at all, but like would we have had a better chance of actually getting a second or a third goal?
Don't know.
And will that inherent caution in Arteta, if that's what it is, cost us?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking sort of ifs, buts and maybes, but then at the same time, it was interesting because in my head, the substitutions were a bit closer. That's how it felt at the time. Because Martinelli then was a brilliant outlet for the last 10 minutes because he, fresh-legged and, off the back of scoring for Brazil. And
he should have scored.
Well, yes, but then so should
rebounds.
Gyokeres. We had some chances, yeah. There was that one that bobbled in from a play when Saka seemed to sort of drift past a couple of players, and then the ball sort of, in my head, it just stayed in the 6-yard box and no one was touching it for about 4 seconds. It wasn't, obviously, and how it didn't go in, I don't know. So, yeah, and then he was able to stretch Fulham again and give them something to think about. So we brought that variety in. But I think once Marino came in, it was about control just for a short time, and then Martinelli can come on and get us back on the front foot.
And Marino's already demonstrated he's good for a goal as well. Like, he offers control, but he can score, and quite dominant in the air for the corners. Penalty decision. I don't know the minute, but it was after 58. I just had a look now, couldn't see where the minute was. I didn't watch it. I didn't see it in real time. I've seen it this morning. I've watched it several times this morning. I've read people's comments on it. In the ground, Steph, how did you feel? Did you have any idea what was going on at all?
I've deliberately not watched it again. I think a lot of other people were more angry at the turned over penalty against Newcastle than yesterday's. Yesterday's, it looked like a bit of a nothing tackle, fine. A lot of us were not even sure it was in the box exactly.
It was definitely inside.
Right, okay, fine.
Yeah,
but it was
inside.
It felt like, okay, great, we got a penalty, sure. The thing that annoys me is the delay, the time, the re-refereeing, because whatever you see, and again, this is the other thing that annoys me, this whole Big Brother announcement, here, take your medicine and shut up, you proletariat, you're going to do as we told. And they brought on the big screen, they put a message, Anthony Taylor comes over and says, I don't want to know what decision you've come to. I know that. I've said it exactly. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I say the same thing all the time. I want to know how you've come to that decision.
Well, he did say, in fairness, he said that the player got the ball. He played the ball and got the ball. He said that. And I'm no defender of referees.
No, but so when he gives
that's why the penalty wasn't. That's why it was overturned.
I don't know. Yeah.
I know, Chris. Go on, Chris, because you've got. Well, I don't know if you still have this view, but I know you had a particular view yesterday.
Well, contact in and of itself is not enough of a reason to dismiss a penalty, right? Yeah. And it did enough for me. The contact of the ball.
Oh, I thought you meant contact of the player. Sorry.
Oh no, of the ball. And this is what Mark Halsey said after the Newcastle incident, which had similarities, obviously, where there was enough contact to take the player down, and that's where the argument is. It was inside the box. Look, for me, it's the VAR thing of like, was there enough for VAR to overturn it? And the on-field decision, in my opinion, should have stood, because they were poring over it for ages. It seemed as if they were trying to find a reason to discount it. Once they get their spoons in the bowl, it's like, well, we've got to find something.
So because I didn't see it live, I feel less emotionally invested in that decision. Because I was just happening elsewhere. I was oblivious to it. I was following Arsblog live actually, and his first response was that it was not a penalty. It will be overturned. The more replays he saw of it, from the different angles, the varying angles, the less set he was in that initial view. And he does what I do. How would you feel if it was given against you? And for me, it wasn't a penalty. I don't think, the Newcastle one was a penalty, ridiculous. And it should never have been overturned by VAR. I happen to think that this one we were unlucky that it was overturned by VAR, but more so because of the camera angles that Anthony Taylor was shown when he was sent to the screen. They were very specific to reinforce the reason he was called over to the screen, which is something that we need to talk about, as football, a wider football community. He wasn't shown all the angles that we were shown in the studio at home. So
it was almost like they were presenting their case.
If there's a couple of angles that you could show and you think, well, he didn't touch the ball, it's a penalty, nailed on. But then there's a couple of other angles where you say, oh no, he got the ball completely moves and you can't really see the contact knee onto the knee. But I think not every physical contact is a penalty.
No.
Of course not. And so I think that would have been a really harsh penalty had it been awarded. But there wasn't enough of an error for it to be re-refereed by VAR. So
exactly.
The referee's decision should have stood. I don't agree that it should have been a penalty, but because he awarded the penalty should have stood. So that was my view on it.
And I think I come to that same conclusion. But I also want to put in the idea, because I think this has been lost as well, that an opposition player making a tackle and making contact with the ball, like you said, Chris, that doesn't negate the fact that it could be a foul.
Exactly.
Because, we do that classic thing of if you get the ball and the man, that can still be a foul. You could still be, impeding a player. So Saka knocks it across going, across the goal like he always kind of does. Let's say the player goes in for a tackle, gets a slight touch on it, but Saka doesn't go down. Well, then Saka's free to have a shot, put in a cross. He is still impeded in a certain way. I think it's a genuine attempt to win the ball. And like I say, I'm way more annoyed about the Newcastle one. But again, just from a fan experience in the ground, minutes and minutes of nothing and blah, blah, blah. And I just, at the point at which it's like, I don't actually care. I just want to get on with the game now, please. It just, as a spectacle, just seems to lose something as well. And it's just a bit meh. Do you know what the longest delay is, the VAR, in the Premier League? I heard this because we were listening to the radio.
7
on the way
minutes?
home. It's about 8 minutes. And it was in a Bournemouth game. 8 minutes. Bournemouth Wolves. I can't remember if it was last season or season before. I mean,
that's 10% almost of a game.
That's ridiculous.
Also, the danger of the players kind of cooling down and then restarting.
We noticed that Marino had not long been on, and he was having to do shuttle runs because he was cold as it was anyway, and so had to sort of keep going. So while they were having that long delay, I mean, it's all a bit weird. And like you say, if you're presenting it like a court case where the guy at Stockley Park is selecting his evidence based on a point of view for the defence or the prosecution, then that's not great. The referee should be given all angles to make an informed decision. That's what it should be about, right?
And why they have got this makeshift temporary little screen on a iPad on a little, I don't know, what do you call that?
Little robot.
And it didn't work to begin with. He was sent over to it and it didn't work. So he was looking like an annoying little kid behind him doing the 6-7 thing, whatever that is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, yeah. Anyway.
I had to ask my kids about that this morning and they just rolled their eyes at me.
Yeah.
What was this 6-7?
Mate, we work in teaching and schools.
Well,
it's everywhere. It's a stupid craze that.
Yeah.
A meme.
The kids are fed up with it. It's just like, oh. Anyway, 1-0 to the Arsenal. It has a lovely little ring to it. Is that our first 1-0 this season?
No. Who was our other 1-0, Holly?
Yes.
Your favourite?
Man United, opening day. No, listen, I am all things Manchester United today. Come on, United. Be nice to end the weekend with a 3-point lead at the
Scabby
top of the
draw
table.
is my preference.
Any drop points? No. Any drop points for sure. But I'm big enough to see past my feelings for United to want them to beat Liverpool today. It's that. There's no Arsenal fan in their right mind should be wanting Liverpool to get anything from today's game.
No. But do you see it?
Yeah, if you're asking for a prediction.
Oh, do I see it? Of course I don't see it. No. I mean, what we've done is we've made it so that Liverpool can't afford to drop points.
That's the best thing. We've put the pressure on them. Brilliant.
Exactly, that's important. Man City were always going to beat Everton at home. That was what we all felt that, especially because Grealish couldn't play against his parent club. And we all feel that Liverpool will beat United at home. However, they kind of have to. They're sitting behind City in the league. Their inaction this weekend so far has seen us open up a 4-point gap on them, and City leapfrog them in the league. So pressure is on, and that plays, coming off the back of consecutive defeats in the Premier League, pressure. That's all we wanted last season, is just to put them under a bit of pressure, and we never did. So they won the league at a canter. Well, hopefully, I mean, we're on game week 8, still quite early, not even a quarter of the way through the season. But anyway, we've done our bit. Over to them. I don't know which weekend Man City and Liverpool play. I don't know, is it the Burnley weekend or the Sunderland weekend? I'm not sure. But, again, I'm assuming we'll be... Yeah, I'm assuming we'll be playing before that game. I'm assuming that game's the Sunday 4:30 kickoff time, and so it's just crucial that we need to win our next 3 games, and we'll definitely be top of the league if we do win the next 3 games after that point. But anyway, okay, we're done on the Premier League. Should we look ahead to the Champions League? Anything else to say?
Do you want to do the top 5 rundown?
Oh, God, yeah, sorry. The only reason I forgot about that is because I decided I wouldn't do it because I didn't qualify.
Because you're
I didn't
obsessed
see
with
the
Manchester
game.
United.
Because I'm obsessed with Manchester United, yeah. Right, so, Chris, who was your player of the match?
Saka.
Man of the match, Saka. He won the official award, didn't he?
I don't even know, did he? But
Yeah, he
for
did.
me, just the again, it's that thing of we don't realise how bloody good he is. You know, the consistency, just the efficiency of everything. It's like I'm on a repeat, but he never ceases. He never drops below a 7 for me. It's just incredible consistency.
Steph.
Speaking of players who never drop below a 7, Jurriën Timber. Just excellent. The levels he produces all the time is absolutely brilliant.
You've just reminded me. So we've got Timber at right back with Ben White as backup.
Yeah.
Right, Ben White, who would have been best right back in the league, in the conversation for best right back in the league 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
We've got Saliba at right centre back, Mosquera as backup. We've got Gabriel at left centre back with Nkapia. And everyone who's seen him play raves about him as a player, as backup. We've got Calafiori at left back with Miles Lewis-Skelly as backup. We've got Raya in goal with Kepa as backup. Holy hell. That backup lineup would probably have conceded maybe 5 or 6 goals this season, but still would have had the best defence. They're that good. It's ridiculous.
Can I just... I've just done some quick maths, yeah? We've played 8 games. We've conceded 3 goals. If we continue tracking at that rate, this season we will concede 14.25 goals.
And we have gone to Liverpool. We've gone to Old Trafford. We've played City at home.
Gone to Newcastle.
So there's some stellar ties in there as well.
Okay. We are really good defensively. We're amazing.
We are very, very good defensively. Right, Chris, positive takeaway.
Well, bouncing straight off of that, defence, you know, I can't go beyond that. This thing of the virtuous circle thing of when Arsenal go 1-0 up, you know, George Graham, as we mentioned earlier, teams feel, oh, God, how are we going to, oh, geez, they're 1-0 up. Not like last season where they'd pluck away and they'd probably get a draw against us. And we were having this argument about we need to score more goals in order to insulate ourselves from conceding a goal. If we can instill this thing of being so tight that one goal, when you're not playing well, can be held on to, it's a huge thing to take into the rest of the season for us and for the opposition that come to us. So for me, it's this defence is the kind of core to our success this year.
I absolutely agree with all of that. However, I'd much rather we adopted the Wenger.
I still want to score more goals.
Yes.
Of course we do.
The Wenger model was to score 2 or 3 in the first 20, 30 minutes, game over.
Of course, but
that's
when
the
you
model
can't,
I want.
When you can't, right? And this is, like you said, the opposition plays as well. They have tactics. Sometimes we're not at our best and we're like lumpy like we were yesterday and we score a goal and it's like, oh, Christ, and there's me having kittens that we're going to concede a late scabby free kick and they've got no shots on target. I mean, what a thing to carry into the next game and thereafter for the teams watching us.
Yeah, for us and the opposition. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my,
Okay, Steph.
I mean, I've written down clean sheet, and it just plays into that idea of, you know, the ability to grind when we need to grind, and have days like that against tricky opposition, and just remain steadfast. I think there was a quote by Red Action after the West Ham game that, you know, titles are built on forgettable 2-0 wins against West Ham. Well, you know, a 1-0 win away at a tricky side, you know, that essentially there wasn't a huge amount of drama about is another positive sign, I suppose.
Well, yeah, for sure. We got 1 point at Fulham last season. We lost at home to West Ham last season, and we lost away at Newcastle last season.
1 point from those games last season.
1 point.
And now we've got 9.
And then Palace at home, we drew 2-2 last season, and we got them up next. So again, narrative. Okay, negative takeaway, Chris.
I mean, it seems churlish, but I do think the fluency issue of coming off of an international break, it just feels like there needs to be a flaw to how we go into these games. And for me, it's that thing I said earlier about your intention of when you put pace on a pass and you trust the technique of the guy you're passing to control it, says a lot about, setting a rhythm for the rest of the game. And I feel like if we can just up the bar a little bit there and just have a bit more confidence in each other's ability, because it just felt like a little bit stodgy.
I think we had one training session with all the
Fine,
players.
but I'm just talking about some basics that can be embedded without a training session. It's just about having faith and going, no, I'm going to. It happened in the second half a couple of times. I remember one pinged into Saka. It was like a shot. It was a really hard pass. And he just took it. He just took the sting out of it. And it's just there at his feet. And I'm thinking, that's what we should be more about. You've taken out a marker. You've advanced the ball. It seems obvious, maybe to me, watching from the sidelines. But it's just one of those things.
I think it's just it's kind of a mental
absolutely, I'm
and
sure.
rustiness. They've all come from different
parts of the world,
different training camps as well, where they've been asked to do different things, and it's just getting back into that muscle memory of club football. And that's why at half time I wasn't unduly concerned. Having witnessed it the first half, I thought we were sloppy, but I wasn't that worried because we weren't losing, and I thought, well, no, we're going to get better. Steph, negative takeaway.
Sorry to bang on about referees. There was a moment in the first half where there's a bit of a tussle for the ball on the on the left-hand side of the pitch as we were looking at it, and a Fulham player casually sort of goes down, and our play carries on. Ball goes out to Eze in the middle of the pitch, almost on the edge of their area, and because the Fulham player had put his hands to his head, Anthony Taylor feels that it's a head injury and therefore the game must be stopped. He's absolutely, and this is as much on Taylor as it is on the Fulham player. It's now, because there is an onus on the referees to protect against head injuries, which is absolutely right. All the player has to do now, put hands to head, and the referee will stop it. And he's been absolutely conned. So,
what can you do though?
Yeah,
this is what they do. But it was so frustrating because he's just been absolutely hoodwinked with that. And I think something needs to be done. And also, at the end of the day, there was going to be one more action. That's all there was going to be. Either Eze was going to shoot or he was going to play someone in. So therefore, to let it go just a couple more seconds would have been nothing.
And was it a head injury? I don't remember it.
What
was it? What was the injury?
It was Josh King, wasn't it?
Josh King got a
slap in the face or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was pathetic. It was nothing.
I think I'm wondering whether there's a retrospective punishment possible. I know that VAR can't intervene for stuff like that, but if it was found to be a clear cheat, then maybe it can be dealt with afterwards, because it is.
You've got to prove that. How do you prove that?
And also, so they have sort of brought that in because he had to have treatment. He then goes off and he has to stay off for a minute or 30 seconds, whatever it is.
30 seconds, yeah.
So,
but he denied us a goal-scoring opportunity.
Exactly, that's the frustrating thing. Interrupted the flow of the game.
Did he do that deliberately?
Yes.
I mean, did he get hit? But he might have got a finger in the eye or something. I didn't see it. I don't know. So how genuine?
Nah.
I think it's like another facet to the game. It's like the professional foul, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's like you take a yellow because you know someone's going to run away from you. This is a kind of similar thing, really. Is you're conning, you're cheating,
conning the ref
to stop the other team progressing.
Having said that, and maybe it says more about me, I'm quite happy if my player does that.
Oh, yeah, you see it from Fulham's point of view. I get it, but I don't like it. Morally,
you judging me there?
Well, I just don't know. It leaves a bit of a bad taste, doesn't it? I know. I don't mind the more kind of egregious, like Ben White pulling someone's nipples or something, to gain an advantage. I love all that,
especially if it's Calafiori's, Chris.
Let's not go there. Stop it. I'm a happily married man.
Are you trying to convince? Okay. Right, what was that? I lost that track. Okay, which player impressed you then, Chris?
Timber, following on from what you said, Steph, he's just a beast, isn't he? Defensive beast. He's just, I've said this before, my ideal fullback in physique, in strength, energy, everything that he conveys. He maybe didn't have his best game yesterday, but he's just efficient, and in defence, you just can't get past him. It's just...
Well, Van Dijk said that he wishes so much that Timber was his club teammate as well as his international teammate. He said that
there you
during
go.
the week. Yeah, cry me tear, river. Yeah.
Oh, didums.
Steph.
Calafiori, speaking of fullbacks that Chris likes the physique of. Calafiori. He didn't have his most cavalier game, and I thought he played very sensibly against tricky opposition. You know, Jimenez was pretty aggressive. Iwobi kept plugging away. They brought Traore on, who looked like a New Zealand scrum half.
All black.
Exactly, like a rugby player rather than a footballer, and did very well. And yet still ended up in that position where, you know, he had a nice finish, albeit offside. And he's got so many different sort of facets to his game. It's really good.
He had a block shot as well, which was on target, with his right foot, in fact, again in the first half. Okay, and Chris.
Yes.
Who could have done better?
We're going to lay into poor old Vic.
Big Vic.
Yeah. It is
well, I think we have to.
Yeah, it's not laying into him so much as my concern is what I echoed to you, in the message, was just that it's fine to have someone who's quite one-dimensional, who just likes to run the channel off the shoulder of the defender and get his shot off. Yeah, although Haaland is sort of developing his game a bit, I think, this season. I don't want to talk about him, but let's focus on Vic. I just worry that if he can't score in those moments where he is supposed to be at his most, that's his speciality, if you like, then there's my concern. I just want to see more efficiency. He had two.
Which chance do you think he should have scored?
The one that he blazed over for me.
That's the one I didn't see. Yeah, I didn't see that one. I've seen the two that the keeper saved, and I thought
weaker foot,
decent height for the keeper.
Yeah,
too, right?
But I don't think you'd think he should have scored those two. It'd be good if he had. He made the keeper work, but the one he blazed over then, was that should he have?
Well, he did all the hard work. He was on the left channel and he just got past his defender, and then it just, the connection was all wrong.
Is it worth, because we've spread the goals around, and a lot of this might be because of him this season, that he's creating a lot of space for others, hence they're getting their opportunities. Okay, we need him to score goals. He also, his physicality led to the corner from which we scored, so he has that involvement. It's not a direct involvement. If you look at the corner, he does lean into a Fulham defender who, I'm not saying he would. He may have got to the pitch of the ball, but Vic's presence meant that he wasn't ever going to get anywhere near the ball. Whilst he's finding his way in, there were a couple of touches. We are such a silky smooth team, and he does somewhat jar against that. He's a bit more industrial, I've seen someone describe him as, and I think that's probably quite fair, and it is notable at the moment.
Yeah.
However, is it? Look, we're top of the league. We're 3 points clear. Granted, Liverpool have a game in hand. We've got 10 different goal scorers.
I'll just add as well before Steph comes in. Just the presser that Arteta gave, where he was pushed on Gyokeres and his involvement, and I think he was trying to take the pressure off him a bit, and others have interpreted it differently, like he is trying to put pressure on him. If you're not scoring for a run of 6 or 7 goals, then you're contributing in other ways, was the gist of it. So yes, he's our spearhead at number 9, but it's not just about scoring; it's about your overall contribution. So that was what Arteta was trying to suggest.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree
Yeah,
with
I do. Yeah. Of course, I do. Because, like you said, we're scoring by committee, which I think is a healthier way that we've been for years. We've been for season, even in our 90-odd goal season, we scored by committee. So I don't see that in and of itself a reason to hammer him, but we do need him to be more efficient in what he is good at.
We need him to score more goals, yeah. Steph?
I wasn't going to say anything that hasn't already been said. It is a Big Vic under the spotlight, and it's more getting in the positions of things is absolutely fine, and running the channels and this, that, and the other. But it is like you suggested about that. I think there just needs to be a little bit more finesse. It seems like every opportunity he gets, he goes for the power of the shot rather than the thought behind the shot, if that makes any sense. And the worrying thing for me also is that sometimes his touch eludes him. You know, the brilliance of Saka is that however you play the ball into him, he gets it under control. And yeah, just once or twice, that wasn't really the case for Vic. There was a group of young lads who were doing that annoying thing of just kind of standing in the aisleway and crowding round because they obviously just wanted to stand with their mates. But they were not overly happy with Big Vic. They were quite vocal in how disappointed they feel about him, which is interesting. So there are some dissenting voices, but yeah.
Could I just add on to that as well that the finesse aspect you wouldn't bother about if he was scoring goals?
No, probably not.
You know, Haaland isn't the most graceful of players, neither is Voltemade at Newcastle. You know, clunkiness is something that you pick up on when they're not delivering, you know, their ultimate goal.
He's our top scorer.
Is he?
Yep.
Joint. There you go. Joint.
With 3 other players. But
Zubimendi and, yeah.
It was Trossard as well. Trossard as well. 3.
Yeah.
Has he got an assist?
Don't know.
I'm not aware. I don't have a memory of one.
I don't think it's panic stations yet, though. I do think there's going to be the hysteria around him. Look, he's in good company. He is contributing. It's just that we want to see him, obviously, take the monkey off his back a bit and actually start scoring some goals.
He's got 3 games: Palace, Burnley, Sunderland coming up, which you would imagine he will play the full 90 minutes in. Then it's the international break, after which possibly Havertz will be back in the mix. So he needs to hit the ground, although we are a different team with him in it, because he occupies the centre halves in a way that none other of our strikers does.
We need them both, Holly. You know, that's the beauty of having.
No, for sure.
To be able to mix it, it's not an either or.
Do you know we are odds-on favourites to win the league?
Stop.
The bookies, not me. We are
yeah,
also
but that's reflecting what people are betting, isn't it?
I also see. I heard someone say that I haven't looked this one up. Favourites to win the Champions League.
Yeah. They've probably fed data into some supercomputer about the squad and the.
Well, there is I think 10,000 different permutations were fed into the supercomputer, and it came out that from the position before this weekend, there were in 44% of those we were going to win the league, and I think Liverpool were 31%.
I'm flattered, but
we're not winning it in a bloody computer.
Exactly.
Anyway, right. So, favourites to win the Premier League, favourites to win the Champions League. So who are the next victims arriving at the Emirates in the Champions League? Well, it's Atletico Madrid on Tuesday. I haven't really looked too much into La Liga this season, but Atletico are in 4th place. Unusually, I know they beat Osasuna last night 1-0, but they had about 25 attempts at goal. So 1-0 was a little bit kind to Osasuna. It was a game at home. They've been involved in quite a few goals this season. They've scored 16, conceded 10 in, how many games? 9 games. So 26 goals in 9. So they're averaging 3 goals a game involved in. I know they beat Real Madrid 5-3 or 5-2, 5-3 in a game. So I'm not sure they're the Atletico Madrid that we're familiar with in terms of that really tight defence. I'm assuming they've still got Oblak in goal.
Yep.
He's a fantastic goalkeeper. I don't know much about their players. Obviously, Griezmann's playing. Conor Gallagher came off the bench yesterday. Koke's their captain. He went off a bit early in the game. I'm not sure whether that was just protecting him ahead of... he was on a yellow card.
Koke's getting on now.
He is, yeah. So it might have protect him against us. But are you going to this game, Steph? I know you were going to go to a midweek.
I was going to go to this game, but actually I can't make it now. So I'll be watching it on the telly like most others.
Are you going, Chris?
Amazing.
We are represented. We are being represented.
2 games in a week. It's mad. Palace as well.
I haven't looked at the Champions League, the table with these other 88 teams in it. I don't know what position we're in or anything. But we've won. Are we 2 from 2? I can't even remember the games we've played. Olympiacos and away to
Bilbao.
Bilbao. Yeah. So we're 6 points from 6. Okay, Chris, you're going to the game then. Are you looking forward to it? I'm assuming you are looking forward to it. Are you confident?
Yeah. I'm interested to see what kind of Atleti turn up. I don't expect it to be a high-scoring game. You just said that surprised me. I didn't realise that they conceded 10 goals. But I think it'll be tight. But I'm up for it. I'm really up for it. Yeah.
I don't suppose. Steph, are you looking forward to it? I'm looking something up whilst you're going to answer that question.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. When I thought I could probably sneak in a couple of Champions League games, because midweek is quite difficult for me, I was tossing up between Atletico Madrid and Bayern, and thought I was going to go for Bayern when I watched the first half of Atletico Madrid versus Liverpool, because they really weren't that great. But then Liverpool took the lead and they wobbled, and Atletico rallied, and I think it took a late Van Dijk winner, I think, in that game for Liverpool to win. And so then I was thinking, maybe Bayern, yeah, but that'll be more an intense game. But plumped for Atletico before I then had to change my mind, because I saw them have that brilliant win over Real Madrid and just thought, okay, well, they're maybe figuring themselves out. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but we're quite stingy and they'll see us as a huge threat, so we'll probably start the game certainly a bit more cautious.
I've just checked. They beat Frankfurt 5-1 in their last Champions League game, and their first Champions League game was a game we should know. They lost 3-2 at Anfield.
Yeah, that's it. Late Van Dijk.
Virgil van Dijk 92nd minute goal.
Yeah.
So again, their 2 Champions League games have involved 11 goals.
They were 2-0 down, weren't they, at Anfield?
Yes.
I think, and then they came back.
Yeah, 4th and 6th minute. Robertson scored on 4, Salah 6, and then Marcos Llorente scored in first half stoppage time and equalised in 81.
Very much an unknown quantity to me, in that regard of, are they going to come to us and they're going to come at us? Are they going to sit back? Don't know.
Llorente, who scored both those goals, is a right back. I'm just looking at the team lineup against Liverpool. They've got Longley at centre back against Liverpool. He's the ex-Spurs player, isn't he? Griezmann up front. I have to say I don't know many of their players in my Premier League bubble, but okay, Chris, what team do you think Arteta's going to go with Tuesday night?
Yeah,
away home to Palace on the following Sunday, so there's a nice bit of a rest there, 5 days.
Well, I think, trying to put my Arteta hat on, I reckon he wants consistency, like to build on yesterday's game. So I think he'll start with a similar lineup and then hopefully rotate, take players off early, rather than start with a shuffled team. So I'm going Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Zubi, Rice, and I am going to start Eze with Saka, Gyokeres and Martinelli, because Martinelli came off the bench. I think he'll start him this game.
Okay. There's nobody back from injury for this game. I don't think we've lost anyone from yesterday, which is good. I mean, that's
amazing.
That should have been someone's positive takeaway. There's no injuries. Steph, how do you think we'll set out, and how are you feeling about the game?
I think he will start with exactly the same team that started at Fulham. The couple of question marks would be perhaps he could go with Marino instead of Eze. And like you say, maybe he could go with Martinelli instead of Trossard. But I just think he might stick with the same, in the sense that we're at home. So Zubimendi and Rice will provide that cover, give Eze a chance to try and express himself a little bit. Trossard's a canny operator, and Martinelli and Marino are brilliant options from the bench.
Well, you've basically articulated my mind there, or my thinking. I've gone for 2 changes. I think he started Trossard yesterday because he knew he was going to start Martinelli on Tuesday.
Okay.
And I think that Merino will come in for Eze in the middle. And not I wouldn't do that. I'd play Martinelli, absolutely, but I'd keep Eze in the team. But I just think he'll change it. But there won't be too many changes anyway. Chris, score.
Yeah, I said I didn't think there'd be many goals in it. I'm going 5-4. No, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go 1-0. 1-0
to the Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Steph,
I've gone with my gut. 1-1.
Was it 1-1 last time we played them? Wasn't it? In that semi-final, was it semi-final of the Europa League? Last time we played these guys.
Them? Oh, that Griezmann equaliser killed me. That was when I knew the season was like done. I was in a funk for ages.
I knew the season was done when I walked into the stadium in Baku.
Yeah, that was the season after. But yeah,
was it? Oh right. Okay. Who did we?
Because we didn't make the final.
No, we didn't make it. Yes, yeah, that's right. That's right. I've gone for 2-1. 2-1 win. Okay. Right. Is that it?
I think it is.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for the chat. We've got Crystal Palace at home on Sunday, so we'll put out another pod Wednesday, Thursday time where we'll look back on Atletico Madrid and we look ahead to the Palace game, righting another wrong from last season, of course. So thanks for the chat, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Have a great few days wherever you are, and see you next time. Cheerio. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye. The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.